Thank you. I'm really pleased to see the turnout tonight. Did everyone get a copy of these, or there's a few more up here that can be passed around if they didn't. On this page, you'll recognize those of you that have been here before. This is the map of the North Highline area with some of the incidents that occurred in August, including the green dots are thefts or larcenies from vehicles. The purple dots are residential burglaries. The blue crosses are where we recovered stolen vehicles, and the little cars are where vehicle thefts have occurred. So just, there's not a whole lot on here that we haven't seen before. Down in the lower left-hand, where you see there's 2 recoveries of burglary and 2 larcenies. All of that's at one of the big apartment complexes we have over here. So it doesn't, in reality, it doesn't look quite as concentrated as it does here on this map. But obviously you can see that most of the activity is concentrated, just south of the downtown White Center area, in sort of this, between here and downtown White Center, both to the east and to the west of where we are now. Are there any questions on this map before I go on?
Are most of the cars recovered from White Center, or are they from all over the county?
They're from all, that's a great question, they're from all over. We recover not only ones from the county, but from outside of the county. I think roughly about half of the recoveries that we do are ones that we've taken the initial stolen vehicle report on, and the other half are ones from Seattle or Bellevue or Tukwila. So those cars definitely travel. Yeah.
How many of these are solved?
How many are solved? I don't know. I don't have the answer on that. Some of them.
Huh?
Some of them. Many of them. I don't know how many.
That don't tell me much.
Sure. I can try to get those numbers for next time. That's a great question. Any others on this map? Okay, so if you flip over, some of you may have heard that we put out an email this week to the West Seattle blog and White Center Now and to the West Seattle Herald about some robbery arrests that were made. We've been experiencing, at least what I thought was a lot of robberies this summer, where a lot of them had some similar characteristics. Most of them were occurring on the street. We call them strong-arm robberies, where an unknown suspect would come up to someone else, steal an item like a purse or jewelry or a cell phone, and then take off real quickly. And so we've been having a lot of those, and detectives from the King County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit, working with detectives from Seattle Police that were also experiencing quite a few of these that had similar patterns, put together a group, 2 different groups of suspects that were kind of related, and were able to identify them, and as of earlier this week had arrested 3 of those and identified a 4th for multiple counts of robbery. One of them was also identified in a shooting in Skyway, and so there's charges pending for that incident. And so we think that probably about 15 robberies from here in the White Center and the South Seattle area were accounted for those from those suspects. So having this occur, I asked our statistician to look into how many robberies we've been having, and my feeling that we've been having a lot isn't quite backed up by the numbers. So even though to me it felt like we were really experiencing a lot of these robberies, the numbers here on this back show that we're not all that far outside of normal. You'll see up at the top across here are robbery statistics from 2009, 10, 11, and 12 for the North Highline area. Of course, 2009 and part of 2010 included the annexed part of lower North Highline. But even for 2011, we're still roughly in line with what those numbers that we had before. You can see the breakdown. These pie charts will show what types of robberies they were, whether they were grocery stores or banks, things like that. The big sort of royal blue section is these types of robberies that I'm talking about, where it just is a person that comes up on the street. So you can see that a few more of those are occurring as a percentage of total robberies over the last couple of years. But the other encouraging thing is this bar chart down here at the bottom that shows the percentage of total robberies where a weapon was used. And so you can see that that number is headed in the right direction, and fewer of the robberies that are occurring have weapons used. So that's kind of a lay of what the statistics are showing up there. Yeah.
The junior high question.
Sure.
This does not include burglaries?
This does not include burglaries. No, this is just robberies. A robbery, for our purposes, is defined as a theft where force is used to either take or retain that item. So it's not breaking into a house. It's stealing something from somebody where an assault is involved. Does that distinction make sense to everybody? Okay. Yeah.
Were these folks from the community that you arrested, or?
Most of them were from either White Center or North Burien. So they were from around here.
Did they have gang affiliation?
Some of them did, but these there wasn't necessarily a connection between their gang affiliation and the groups that they were in when they were committing these crimes. So it wasn't all one gang that was doing this. These individuals have separate gang affiliations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
B.J., do you think the improvement in robberies with weapons is in part maybe due to the big bust last year where so many weapons were collected and so forth? Do you think that's had an impact?
I don't know. I can't say for sure, but that's definitely a great hypothesis, and it couldn't have hurt. I don't know what's accounting for these numbers. I mean, that's hard to say unless you're there every time, but I just wanted to bring these in here to show that if anyone else was feeling like I am, where we had a lot of robberies, these numbers are showing, it's not really that bad. So, and sometimes that can be the case where I'm the one that's out there that's hearing about these every time, so I'm feeling like they're happening a lot. But in perspective, it hasn't been that way. Are there any other questions on the stats? Okay. An update on the Lake Mallard body that was found. If you read any of the local blogs, you got the update that the victim was identified. Her name was Virginia McMullen. She's a 22-year-old. We believe she's from out of state, and our detectives are looking into what are the circumstances that brought her up here to Coronado Springs. And we don't at this time know yet what the cause of death is. We have to wait for that toxicology report because the body didn't give us any immediate answers as to what the cause of death was. So those reports take several weeks. So probably by next month we'll have an update on that. I think that's the news. Does anyone else have questions on anything? Oh, the other thing I want to bring up is I've been dealing a lot with abandoned houses where people have been squatting in them. And as the weather starts to get colder, we expect we're going to see more of that going on. So if you happen to live near an abandoned house or a foreclosed house that you suspect someone is staying there illegally, call 911 or get in touch with me. Call 911 if you think someone is there at the time. If you're not sure but want to let me know about it, get in touch with me personally. Since that's something I've been dealing with a lot with lately, I'd be happy to come out and take a look and see if we can prevent that from becoming a foothold where people are squatting.
Great.
Okay. Yes.
B.J., how is it going with our businesses that agreed to not sell the alcohol prior to noon campaign?
Yeah. Some of those businesses are still participating. Some of them, and I've been at businesses where I've witnessed business owners turning down people from buying single-serve alcohol before 1 p.m. So I know that some of that is still working. Some businesses that initially were participating either aren't or are selectively enforcing it. They'll decide, I think this person's a problem, so I'm not going to sell to him. I don't think this person's a problem, so maybe I will sell to them. And then there's other businesses that never got on board. And we even have some new, the liquor store is a new business since it came in, and they're selling without any, voluntary restrictions. So we kind of have a little bit of everything going on in the neighborhood. It's not any sort of blanket program anymore that's working as we designed it, but as long as there's some business owners that are using it as a tool to not sell to people that they think are, already intoxicated or are going to be problems, there may still be some positives to the way that the program is working. Does all that make sense?
Is the business by the Chevron, the store there, are they working, helping?
The little guy, the Chevron Mini
Yeah.
Mart, they are one of the ones that's doing, that I would say is kind of selectively enforcing it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes?
People ought to call you on 911, even if they can't have an officer respond. At least you get a record of it, you get a picture of what's happening in the area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Speaking of 911, do you have anything to say about Smart 911,
Smart 911?
the new program?
I don't know it.
I do.
You're asking the wrong person.
I happen to know, this is one thing I know about. Smart 911, you can go to smart911.com, or there's a link on our Sheriff's Office webpage. And what it is 70% now of people are, 911 calls now, 70% are from cell phones. So 911, enhanced 911s, that gets you the address and everything, is obviously made for landlines, but a lot of people only have cell phones now. Of course, they're out and about. So what you can do is go into smart911.com. You can put in your information. It's totally voluntary. You can put in your picture. You can put in medical conditions, where your bedroom is. I mean, anything that may come up when you call 911, particularly if you don't know where you are, or for some reason you're not able to communicate what's going on. So if there's an autistic child or an Alzheimer's patient or anything like that you may be involved with, you can put all that information in, and then when you call 911, 911, it's going to come up on the screen in the dispatcher's office, and they're going to know all that, and they can communicate it to the deputy or the officer, so they know that going in to the 911 call. So it's really a good system. It's brand new. We're one of the first places in the country to get it, and you just go online. You can update it anytime you want, and it's up now. So